Yes. We start with the philosophy. Yes. Otherwise, reality of the reality. Philosophy which is the meaning of the nature of the reality. How knowledge is acquired and other things. Okay. That's absolutely the primary. Philosophy is the belief system and guide how the researcher understand and explore the right knowledge existence to the right. So what do you mean by the philosophy? Set of beliefs and the set of attitudes of the researcher towards the research, right? Or else we are identifying it as a basic belief that guides the researcher for the design and execution of the research study. And the different research philosophy, different individuals see the, or different researchers see the world in different ways. And basically we can identify two research philosophies accordingly. Set of belief that the researcher has can be divided into two. What those are? Interpretivism and the other one? Yes, interpretivism and the positivism. Positivism. Okay. Positivism in the sense. Positivism. All of in the first era, there are positivist research. Right? There are positivist research. So what their attitude or else what their belief is, all the things happening according to the predetermined way. Or else all the things are happened according to the predetermined way, or else all of the researchers see the same thing according to the same way. Right? So regarding this chair, right? So this is black and white, or else entirely black. And this is a chair. So that is my perception. That is my belief. Your belief, same thing. Right? This is a chair and this is a black color chair. Right? Angelina and this the belief, black color and the chair. All of the researchers, we three are the researchers, and all of these researchers identifies this same object as the same way. Right? No any differences. We identify in that sense there is the truth. Right? All of researchers, they are identify, they are the mindset is there is the truth. Right? What do you mean by the? In what kind of scenarios we use the word the? If there is a only one. If there is only one. So therefore, truth is, we are never notating that one as a third truth. Why? Only one truth. Right? Later on, once this research subject is going to expand or is going to be, yes, expand, what happened? There are another type of researchers. Who they are? So they are the interpretivism researchers. Right? So what their perception is, now all the things are not happening according to the predetermined way. One of the individuals see the same thing in different ways. Right? Regarding another way, so same example, this is the chair, black color chair. That is my perception, but her perception is different. Right? So this is made of the steel. Right? Another one, see this is a plastic chair. And likewise, what happens? This is steel. This is what we are going to find. One different researchers, from their viewpoint, this is subject to their perception. Right? So therefore, we are identifying the later on interpretivism, research, philosophy. Positivism, there is the truth. Later on, they identify there is a truth. Right? What do you mean by a truth? Yes, a truth. Rather than using the word the. So in that era, interpretive researchers, they use there is a truth. A truth in the sense, yes, different to the another person to person. What happened? The truth may be different, right? So therefore, there are two research philosophies: positivism and the interpretivism. Right? We can discuss this one detail, but no need. Right? So if you want, we have already discussed this one in the first slide or as the first lesson. You can go through that one. Right? Basically, we are identifying two: interpretivism and the other one. What is it? Positivism. Okay. You have to identify how you are going to define my research first. Right? So the truth in the sense, this is the objective. What you are going to find. Right? Is that different or is that same? Right? Once you identify that the philosophy behind your research, what is the next step? Identifying the approach. How many approaches do we have? We have two approaches. What those are? Deductive and the inductive approach. Deductive and the inductive approach. What do you mean by the deductive approach? We already discussed this one. Deductive approach. Yes. Deductive. What we are doing in the deductive research approach? We are testing the hypothesis. We are testing the hypothesis, right? So to test the hypothesis, what you need to first identify? Yes. What do you need to first identify? Yes. What is the first approach? What is the first step in the deductive approach? Yes. What is the first one? We have the existing theory. We have already determined or identified built theory. We are going to test that theory. So therefore, we have first identified there is a theory, right? Natural resource-based theory, agency theory, right? Stakeholder theory. What else? Resource-based theory, right? Technology acceptance model, technology acceptance theory. Likewise, there are theories. All the things that you are learning is derived from theories, right? Theories. So therefore, you are going to test the theories. So the first one is identification of an existing theory. What is second step? Yes. Now, based on your theory or plus based on the hypothesis, so based on the previous studies findings, we are developing now the hypothesis that we have discussed in the literature review chapter. Right? Literature review chapter. Once we develop the hypothesis, next step, collect the data. There is a relationship between X and Y. We develop a hypothesis. And then what we can do is we need to collect the data to prove this relationship between X and Y. So therefore, you need to collect the data for the X and you need to collect the data for the Y. Right? Okay, now you collected the data. What is the next step? Yes, you analyze data. Why? You need to prove whether there is a relationship between X and Y. This needs to be proved. So therefore, what you are doing is you need to analyze the collected data for the variable X and for the variable Y. Right? Okay, now you analyze the data. You got the results. Based on your results, last step is you need to identify whether my hypothesis is accepted or rejected, which is developed based on the existing research theory. Right? So this approach called as the which approach? Deductive approach. Right? Deductive approach. Deductive approach in the sense again testing the existing theories. If you are doing a research regarding marketing, 4Ps and the customer satisfaction. Right? Is it based on the existing theory? Yes or no? 4 P's and the customer satisfaction. Yes, exactly. The 4 P's developed based on the previous research theories. Right? So therefore, you are going to identify whether there is a relationship between marketing strategies and the customer satisfaction. You identify the theory. So the previous researchers identified the results or developed that concept based on the theories. Again, what you are going to do is you are going to prove whether there is relationship between these marketing strategies and the customer satisfaction. You need to now collect the data. Okay? You have already developed the hypothesis. You need to now collect the data regarding the marketing strategies and the customer satisfaction. Once you collected the data, you can run the regression analysis or whatever the technical analysis, and then you can come up with, okay, there is a positive relationship between marketing strategies and the customer satisfaction. If we increase the marketing strategies, the customer satisfaction will be increased. Right? There is a positive relationship. What is it? Acceptance or rejection of the existing theory. We are calling it as a deductive approach. Right? The other one, inductive approach. Right? Inductive approach. Induction, what do you mean by the induction? Induction program. Yes? You are going to, you will learn third year first semester. Some of may have that experience. Okay? You may have some induction program. What do you mean by the induction program? Yes? The employer is going to introduce yourself to the other employees. You are going to induct. You have been induction in the organization. So therefore, induction or else the inductive approach, then we are going to do something new, right? Or else we are going to develop the theories in the inductive approach. By using the inductive approach, what we are going to do is we are developing the new theory. How we can develop the new theories? How we can develop the knowledge, or else how we can develop the theory, how we can develop the concept, how we can develop some aspects regarding the knowledge. How? How we can identify some new concepts? The researcher's role is identify some new concepts, plus the lecturer's role also having some that role. So they have the duty to identify new things. How you can identify new things? Yes, how we can identify the new things? Yes, exactly through the gaps. But else? Okay, gaps. How we can normally identify the new things? Based on the problems, gaps, problems, what else? Normally, how the small children are going to identify the new things? Experience, okay. Observation is good. නේද එයාලා ඉන්නේ කොහොමද චූටි චූටි බබාලා බලන්න එයාලා මොකක්ද දැකලා නැති දෙයක් නම් කරන්නේ අම්මේ මෙන්න මේක මොනවද කියන එයාලා කෑකරන්නේ that means what it is they are observing okay? From their perspective they see some specific observation right if we are doing something new so first we identified the specific observation specific thing so it is not normal it's abnormal. Right? So that is why we are going to do some research in there. Right? For example, in these days, forensic accounting. Right? Forensic accounting is a trending area. right? But they are not maybe a forensic. Let's assume so there are no any forensic accounting techniques identified so far, right? So that is a new thing you can identify. Or else we again take an example. There is a one student always. So there are a lot of students always coming to the lectures as a late. So therefore, what I can identify is, so I can identify that persons as the lot of the individuals or student as the latecomers. All are coming up to the proper way, or else before 8:30 or else 9. But the specific students, they are coming at the 9:30. What is it? Specific observation. It's not normal, it's abnormal. So then, what is the next step? Specific observation. I'm a little bit confused. Okay, this is the specific observation. What happened next? Same time. When the repetition is there, same date or during the during 15 weeks, the respective student is coming as a late student, right? Or else late student. And what happened then? I identified first the specific observation, and then what is it? It's the pattern, right? So it's the pattern. Based on that pattern, I can identify, yes, last one, what is it? We are coming to the conclusion. We'll ask the reason from. Okay, his explanation may be there may be traveling issues. That there may be traveling issues. So then I can conclude that as my conclusion, students are late because of the traveling issues. That's a simple example that I can explain you with the induction or else the intuitivism or else the what is it? Positivism. No, it's which approach? Yes, which approach? Deductive or inductive approach, right? Otherwise, interpretivism research, right? Interpretivism research philosophy is linked with the inductive approach, whereas positivism research philosophy, once you identify, okay, I'm going to deal with the positivism research philosophy, what is my approach? Which approach? Inductive or deductive? Deductive approach, right? Deductive approach, right? Those who are identifying, I'm going to do a interpretivism research. What is their approach? Yes, what is their approach? Inductive approach. Those who are dealing with the positivism research philosophies, what is their approach? Deductive approach. We are identifying the layers. Some layers in the sense, first layer, what is it? Philosophy. Okay, I'm dealing with the positivism research philosophy. Then next one is identifying my approach. What is my approach? It is deductive approach, right? First, if I'm identifying my research is the interpretivism research, and then I have to go to the next letter. What is the approach? What is my approach? Inductive approach. Okay. Next one, research design. Right? Research design. What do you mean by the research design? Okay, read this one and explain me design. Once you identify your research approach and the philosophy, now you have to design a research. That means you have to identify the overall strategy that you are going to apply to your research. Right? That overall strategy identify what sort of data, right? Whether I'm going to collect the primary or secondary data, right? Whether I'm going to do a quantitative research or qualitative research, whether I'm going to use the cross-sectional studies or the longitudinal studies. What may be my sampling technique, right? What may be my population. Likewise, you are going to design your strategy based on which we are design your strategy. Design your strategy. How you can identify primary data, secondary data, quantitative research, how you can identify. It should be linked with your Yes, link with your objectives and very good objectives and question. Right. So therefore, research strategy in the sense it's the overall strategy. Research design means overall strategy for answering a research question plus the research objective by using which data, primary or secondary data, not using the empirical data. It may be primary or it may be secondary data, right? The way how you are going to do your research, right? So overall strategy, overall mission, how you are going to do your research will be reflected by the research design. Right? Meanwhile, it describes what sort of data, type of data, time period, and the sample, population, unit of analysis, and likewise, all the things are categorized under the research design. Okay. So these are the sum of elements in the research design. Okay, identify the first one. What is it? It is the research strategy, right? First you identify the research strategy, right? Then what is the other one? Extent of the researcher's interference. Then study setting, unit of analysis or population or the time horizon, data analysis techniques, and then sampling design, data collection method, and the measurements. All the things are belongs to the research design. Okay, therefore writing down the elements of the research design. Write down the elements of the research design. Elements of the research design. The element of the research design. The first one, research strategy. Research strategy. The second one, extent of researchers' interference. Extent of researchers' interference. Third one, study setting. Study setting. Fourth one, unit of analysis. Fourth one, unit of analysis. Time horizon. Time horizon. Data collection method. Data collection method. Sampling design. Measurement and measurements. Measurements. And the last one, data analysis technique. Data analysis technique. Data analysis techniques. These all the things are covered by the research design. Research design in the sense we need to cover all the things. That means until we are discussing about the data analysis lesson, what we are going to do? We are going to cover the research design. Next lesson is sampling, and then we have the data collection, and then last lesson is regarding the research analysis. The analysis, what are the analysis techniques that you have the chance to do. So then until that one, we have to discuss the research design, right? Okay. We'll go to the first one, strategy. Make the heading strategy. First one, research strategy. Research strategy. Research strategy in the sense how you can collect the data, right? What do you mean by a strategy? The way how you are going to, achieve the goal. Strategy reflected by the way how you are going to achieve a certain goal. Mission, and then mission, after the mission, then you identify the, yes, mission, and then strategy, mission, objectives, method, goals, and then strategy, right? So that what do you mean by a strategy then? Strategy. Okay. Strategy means the way how you are achieving the goals. The way how you are going to achieving the goals reflected by the strategy. Right? Now the research strategy. Research strategy in the sense the way how you are going to collect the data for your to fulfill your research objectives and questions. Right? The way how you are going to collect the data for your to fulfill your research objectives and the questions. These will be reflected by the research strategy. Right? Okay. We have the 6 strategies. First one is the experiment. Right? What do you mean by experiment? Experiment. You have experience with the experiments? Yes. In O levels, neither. In A levels, grade 6, what is the first scientific experiment that we had? Grade 6. I remember translation in the Matakadwala. Kandakareva. Tabi. Tabi Nana. And is it today? Really? Okay. What do you have done? Kali lagi මොකද කරන්නේ? තනිකර ටික වහන්න. වහලා ඊට පස්සේ මොකද කරන්නේ? ඒ grade 5 වල ඉන්න කාලේ ප්‍රභාත ස්ටේෂනේ තියෙන එක grade 6 නෙමෙයි. අර පොල් කට්ටක් කරගෙන වහන්න කියලා ඊට පස්සේ ඉතුරු ටික වහන්න නැති ඉඳලා මොකද කරන්නේ? අපි බලන පාට වෙනස් වෙන විදිය. ඉතින් අපි මොකක්ද මේක කන්ක්ලූෂන් එක? මොකක්ද කියන්නේ හිරු එළිය? මොකක්ද කියන්නේ? හිර ඕනේ. හිර වල මොකද? මම කියන්න මම. ප්‍රභාත ස්ටේෂන් නෙමෙයි නේ. මොකක් හරි concept එක ඒක තමයි experiment. That is the first experiment that we had. Okay. In the grade 5 or grade 6. What do you mean by then the experiment? Experiments. Experiments are doing at where? Can we do the experiment at the classes? No, we can't. Where we can do the experiment? Where we can do the experiment? In the laboratory, in the labs. Yes. In the labs, we can do the experiment. So then, what do you mean by the experiment then? Give me the definition or is your idea regarding the experiments. What we are doing in the experiments? Testing. We are doing some testing. Very good. How we test those things? We change one variable and we observe the changes in other variables. මොකද කරන්නේ? ඔයාලා science එකේ background එකක් අරගෙන ඕලෙවල් වලදී මොකද කරන්නේ? අර අමුලට මේ යන්නේ දාලා පාට වෙනස් වෙනවාද කියලා බලනවා lab එකට ගිහිල්ලා. What those are? Experiment. We change one variable, the composition of the one variable, and then we observe what happened to the variable. That is called as the experiments. Can we do the experiment for the management research? We go to the lab, we change the organizational structure, and we observe the performance of the organization. Can we do? No, we can't. So therefore, most probably the experiments will be conducted by the scientific people in their research. But management people, we can't go with the experiments. Right? But it's one of strategies that we can use to collect the data or else conduct the research for a specific research purpose. Is that clear? Experiment. Okay. The survey research. Next one, survey. Do you have experience with the surveys? Yes. What sort of scenarios? Experiments? Sorry, the surveys? Question, yes, okay. But it's in your daily life, did you print a survey at home? Yes. Without the kind of the census and statistics department taking and the survey of the householders. Without the having the kind of already the so these are practical examples, right? So otherwise you can't remember the strategies. Then what do you mean by the survey then? Census and statistics department for a 4 year period they are counting Sri Lankan population. Right? So what it is? A survey. How they are doing it? They go to the Gramadari, Matrumaka Karana. Get a villa. Even a king on the Vedas and already you are a main. But there is Satulia and the Pang there, but they but they have but there is Satulia. Ever. Here come I එතකොට දවසක් දීලාද කොහෙද ඒ දවසට රත්තරනේ සත්තු ප්‍රමාණය මොන වෙනවද වලුරු වෙනවද මොනවද උඹ ලියන්නේ කියලා. What is it? What they are doing? That's a practical example. That's a practical example. What they are doing is they are collecting the data. Right? It's a survey. So therefore, what do you mean by a survey? Yes. What do you mean by a survey? Is a system for collecting the information from or about the people to describe, compare, and explain their knowledge, attitude, and what is the other one? The behavior. That's up to what is it? Is that attitude? Is that knowledge? Or is that behavior? The behavior. What we are observing is the behavior. We are collecting the data regarding their behavior. Why? Why? What is the reason? Is there no ගෙවල් සත්තු වැඩි වෙලා නැද්ද? මොකද ඔයගේ purpose එක දන්නවද ඒක? මොනරු හරි මොන හරි එහෙම ඉන්න ගහලා දෙන එකේ purpose එක දන්නවද? නෑ. ඔබ ඊයේ තමයි ඊයේ එතකොට තමයි මට කිව්වේ මේ කවුරු හරි මේ එහෙම වත්තර අපේ ස්කූල් එකේ යන්න ඊයේ මෙච්චර පාටි එතකොට ඊයේ ඉස්කෙනේ තමයි කිව්වේ වත්තර සත්තු ලියන්න ඔකට හොන්න එකක් කිව්වා. කොහොම හරි මම උදේ වත්තේ බස් එකෙන් සත්තු එක ඇහුවා. That's the one. That's it, sir. What they are doing is they are collecting the data regarding the birds or whatever the animals behavior. But in our context, can we do the management student? Can we collect the data from the surveys? Exactly. For what kind of scenario? Yes. If you want to collect the data regarding the customer satisfaction, can we collect the data through the survey? Yes, we can. We go to the industry or else we as a campus, we need to identify your customer satisfaction. Right? What we can do? We share the questionnaire to you. You always doing that one also. for the lecture evaluation and the other facilities. So we are sharing the questionnaire to you. You need to fill the questionnaire. What we are going to do, what we are going to have, your attitude, right? Your attitude regarding the respective lecture or is regarding the sub-campus. What is it? It's a survey. I hope it's clear to you. So we can conduct the interviews plus the questionnaires to conduct a survey. There are two ways of conducting the surveys. First one is the interviews. We can go to the interviews plus we can go to the questionnaires. Right? If it is the interview, we can have the face-to-face interview or is the telephone interviews. If it is a questionnaire, sharing the questionnaire, we have the chance to share the questionnaire in three formats. What those are? Supervised and posted and the written questionnaires. We'll discuss those three in detail when you are coming to the data collection lesson. Right? For the moment, you can identify surveys can be conducted through the via the interviews plus the other ones questionnaires. Right? Questionnaires. So then, ethnography. What is it? Ethnography. Yes, ethnography. What is this picture about? Yes, we are closely monitoring something. We are going to closely inspect something. Ethnography is that same, the picture. Yes, exactly. What do you mean by the ethnography then? We are closely monitoring the subcultures. Did I discuss this one previously? No. Right. So the respective researcher closely monitor, observe some patterns of the subcultures. Right? The researcher observe some patterns or behavior of the subcultures closely. We observe first and record those patterns and behaviors of the subculture. For example, the senior professor, the Professor Nandalal Ratnasekar, University of Colombo, right? When he is writing the book called The Beggar, right? The book name is, if you want, you can purchase and read. The name is The Beggar, right? So that means it describes the culture of the beggars, right? In Sri Lanka, it's a subculture, right? Beggars in the sense it's a subculture. Can we go and ask the question from the beggars? No, we can't. So what is your behavior? Where are you from? Can we ask that question from them? No, we can't. So then, if we want to study about them, what is the best strategy? Yes? Best strategy is? Yes, to be a beggar. Right? Exactly. That is what the Professor Nandalal Ratnasekar did. He acted as a beggar for a 6-month period. He acts as a beggar, otherwise he can't collect the data. If you are not going to become a beggar, they are not going to tell about the truth scenarios behind them. Therefore, the respective professor act as a beggar and observe their data, record their data, and wrote the book, The Beggar. Entirely the research strategy is ethnography. What we are doing in there, we closely monitor and record the patterns, behavior, attitudes of the subcultures. Clear? Right. Procedures also same. Right? So if we are going to ask the question from them, are they going to tell the real scenarios? No, not sometimes. Underworld case, can we ask the question from them? Can we ask? No, we can't. If we want to write down the books and other things, if you want to analyze their patterns and behavior, you want to become a temporary advisor, not a big rowdy person. Otherwise, they are not going to have the reason behind that. You give like a part time, but if you get a hotel, this is like a no, never. How would I say, yeah. Right? Okay. Right. Ethnography, I hope that's remember you. First one, narcotica experiments, grade 6, then the survey, what the ceremonial, then third one, the maker. Right? Okay. Other three case studies, and then the grounded theory, and the last one, action research. Right? Case studies. Have you faced or have you written down the answers for the case studies? Yes, sure. Which subject? At least case studies. Yes. In the previous syllabus name, once you are going to become a chartered accountant, you have to face the case study at the after the strategic level. But fortunately, now in the new syllabus, for the three levels, we have three case studies, which is called as the capstone. Okay? Three case studies capstone. Each and every stage, that means stage, you need to face the capstone. Right? What do you mean by the case study there? The case is there, right? The specific case is there. You are going to analyze that case. What are the reasons? What are the challenges? How this happened? So what are the solution for these cases and likewise? Right? Case study can be taken the quantitative plus qualitative way also, right? For example, the finance, right? The finance. What happened to the finance? The finance, ETI, and then the other one, it started with the selling collide. Okay. Selling collide, the finance, and then the ETI. What happened to them? All those are financial institutes, right? Financial institutes. What happened to them? Bankrupt. Yes, bankrupt. Why? We can analyze or else we can answer that the question why by taking this case study method, right? So why the financial system in Sri Lanka is not that much sound, right? What are the reasons behind that? Why the financial institute in Sri Lanka is not that much sound? So what we can do is we can analyze these three cases and answer the question why, right? We'll take the first case, the finance. What is the reason behind that? What is the reason for the bankruptcy? Then ETI. What is the reason for the bankruptcy? Right? So then the selling co life or a selling co. Right? What is the reason behind that? Why this organization collapsed? Right? We can answer the question why by analyzing these three case studies. You have the chance to analyze the case studies also. If you are taking only one company, it becomes a case study. That is why I don't ask you to do the research regarding the SAT campus. If it is so, but it is, it's a case study. For your level, we are not allowing you to do the case studies for the dissertation, but you have the chance to do the case studies for the other perspectives. It's a very interesting research strategy, analyzing the cases, analyzing the cases. The next one, what is it? Grounded theory. Grounded theory. What do you mean by the grounded theory? Okay. Grounded theory. Ground flow. What do you mean by the ground flow? Base. That's the base flow. Grounded theory in the sense, did you remember we discussed the two approaches, deductive and the inductive approach. The deductive or inductive approach. In the inductive approach, what is the technique that we are using? The grounded theory. Right? Grounded theory in the sense, it identifies or else it helps to develop a research theory. Right? Grounded theory helps to develop a new theory. It finds the basic fact regarding the research. It identifies the specific observation. It helps to develop the specific pattern or else identify the pattern and then come to the general conclusion. Whereas it follows the grounded theory method. Most of the qualitative researchers, if they are going to explore something new, what is the strategy that they can use? The grounded theory, right? Okay. The last one, action research. What do you mean by the action research? Action research. What is the meaning of action? For example, we want to identify, so we have the MAs, right? MAs, they are taking the two plants, right? First plant, what they are doing is they are identifying or else they are giving the employees the high financial benefits. And then they are observing the customer satisfaction or else the employee satisfaction, employee productivity. Right? The other plant, they are not giving the finance, they are not giving the financial services, they are providing high non-financial facilitations. So then they are observing the productivity of that employees. Right? So what happened is, now they are first plant financial benefit and the second plant non-financial benefits. So they identified at the end of the month, rather than financial benefits, non-financial benefits are performing well for the employee productivity. Accordingly, they identified the okay, rather than giving the financial, we provide the non-financial benefit to our employees. Right? So now they are going to implement the non-financial benefits to the plant B, plant A and B. So they are not going to entirely implement this non-financial benefit to the organization. What they are doing is plant-wise, they are showing or they are giving the non-financial benefit. What it calls action research. The management, if the management or the responsible parties want to implement something new, right? If they want to implement something new, what they can do is they can go with the action research. Rather than implementing the concept to the entire organization, they can partly inculcate that concept to the one area and they can observe the performance of that concept. And meanwhile, if there is a positive, they are going to the plant B or plant A also. Once they identify the positive impact on the plant A plus B, they are going to the plant C. Step by step, they are going to induct that program or induct that new concept to the respective area. We are calling it as an action research. Here, 6 strategies, what those are? First one, experiment. Second one, surveys. Third one, ethnography. Fourth one, case studies, grounded theories, and the action research. Okay, you can have a break and come.
ஒருத்தருக்கு ஒண்ணு தெரியாது. Dame.
You have the chance to mark your attendance. Meanwhile, we'll have the papers. Thanks to
Get on the
yeah.
Google Lensing can I link the canal minister link yes
Please ask your students to come. Drop message. Are you unable to drive?
All present 36. What about the others? 36. Fountain. Okay. Where are these? Where are these? Dancing. Please count your. Ah. And again, 17 plus 20, that's all recorded. Next, 27, where record record right, okay. So then Kalino, other students, you need to record that. Right, okay. The next part, the extent of researchers interval, right? The engagement of the researcher towards this research will be identified this part. Right, the extent of the researcher's interference with the study. Right. Okay, so then we can identify here correlational and factual studies. Right? Correlational. What do you mean by the correlational? Cause effect. Next, cause effect. Low level, high level, or moderate level, right? Researchers interference in the sense how much the researcher is, how much, also how far the researchers' engagement towards this research, right? So basically, to identify the two scenarios, casual and correlational studies, right? If it is a correlational study, that means we are conducting the research in the natural environment, right? We don't need to change the environment. That means regarding the management. Right? So are we going to, when we are conducting the identifying example, when we are identifying the satisfaction, customer satisfaction. Right? As a banker, we are going to have the idea regarding customer satisfaction. If we are going to observe the customer satisfaction data, do we need to change the environment, the background of that research? Do we need to change the environment, natural environment? Yes or no? No, we don't need. Okay? We go to the industry, we go to the banks, we identify them, we ask the respondent to fill the questioning. We don't need to change the background. So therefore, the correlational research are conducting in where? In the natural environment. Right? If it is a natural environment, the researcher's interference is high or low, right? Or else mean. Right? The other way around, cause effect, or else casual research, right? Casual type research, cause effect. Right? If we change the one variable, what happened to the other variable? Right? So what kind of scenarios we are identifying that sort of research in the experiment? Right? If it is an experiment, do we need to change the natural environment of that research when we are conducting that research, when we are collecting the data, when we are doing that research? Do we need to change the natural environment? Experiments? Yes, we need. We need to make our surrounding. Next, we have to go to the labs. Otherwise, we can't go to the road and we can't collect the data. We have to use the specific place. That means we need to change our natural environment. Right? In that sense, what happened to research interference? The researcher finally engaged in that kind of research. For example, again, normally most of the science and especially the science medical lecturers, how they are doing the research. That they are doing the research at the labs now. So they need, rather than the management research, what we can do, we prepare the questionnaire and we share the questionnaire with the industry or the respective respondent and we collect the data and come back. Right? That is the other first stage. That is how the management philosophy or the management they can do the research. But if it is a medical, if we do the research and we identify some medicine, but based on some hypothetical data, we just collect the data from the individuals and we come up with the medicine. What happened then? If the medicine wrong, what happened? It is disaster. So therefore, if the science persons or medical persons, chemistry person doing their research, they do the research at the labs. So it's a long-lasting process. We're not like the management student. We can just do the research, but the management, but the science person, they cannot do the research like that. That's the stuff. Their engagement is really high. ඒගොල්ලෝ මාත 6ක් වෙලා ඇතුළම research එකක් කරනවා. එකක් දදා වෙනස් කරලා lab වලට ගිහින් lab sessions ඉන්න අපිට කරන්නේ. So they are doing actually the research, but the management students, do we need that much engaged in our research? No, we don't know. We don't need. Why? So we can share the questionnaire, we research the existing theories, we have the idea regarding literature degree, and then we have the idea regarding the other findings of that other persons finding on the same university. Then we can collect the data and come up with the finding. First, we concentrate on conclusion, not like the other science and medical persons. So therefore, with the actual relation, the actual research, the researcher's interference is high or low. It's high, but for reason, those kind of things are happening in the not the natural environment, the artificial environment, right? But we are about doing the correlational research. We are doing correlational research in the natural environment, just like the management is a bit. In that sense, the researcher's interference is high or low. If compared to the natural relations, it's low, right? Or else minimum. That clear. Management philosophy එකකට management students අපිට මොකක්ද question එකක් කරලා study කරලා මොකද කරන්නේ question එක share කරලා data collect කරලා අපි conclusion එකට යනවා. ඒකට අපේ interference එක with compared to the medical people high or low. දැන් medical කට්ටියට එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන් question එකක් share කරලා medicine එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. බෑ ඒක උනත් ඒක කරන්න වෙනවා. ඩෙන්ගු නම් වෙන්නේ. ඩෙන්ගු වලට කට්ටිය හොයාගෙන පේජ් බස හොයාගෙන hospital එකට ගිහිල්ලා එතන මේක natural environment එකේ regular artificial environment hadaගෙන මොකද කරන්නේ? ඒක chemistry persons. They have to do the experiment and then like. Therefore, their interference is if compared to the management high or low. It's high. Because why? Not the natural environment, it's the artificial environment. Right. Study setting. Next one, study setting. Study setting again can be identified into two. What those are? It in line with the researcher's interference. Right? Researcher's interference, we can identify two environments under the study setting. What those are? Contrived and the non-contrived. Right? So, what do you mean by or else what kind of scenarios we can use the contrived or else non-contrived? Please read and tell me. Yes, casual research are happening in where? Yes, in where? In the labs. We have to change the environment. If it is so, we are identifying it as a contrived or uncontrived. Contrived environment, contrived setting. Right? If it is a correlation, do we need to change the environment? No, we don't need to change the environment. We are conducting the business research in the where? In the we are conducting the business research in the natural environment. Therefore, we don't need to change the environment. If it is so, we can identify basically it as an uncontrived environment. Then field studies as well as the field experiments. Field studies in the sense, if it is an uncontrived nature, if it is, we can call it as a field studies. But if it is an experiment or we are conducting the studies in the labs or else contrived setting, we can identify it as a field experiments. Next one. We identify the interference with the researcher and then study setting interference that we have identified minimal, high, or low with inline to the casual law correlational research with the environment. And the study setting we identified two, what those are study setting, contrived and the non-contrived or field studies or field experiments. Right? Third one, what is it? Yes. Next one, and third one, next one. But how many of under the research design, how many components that we have discussed? Tell me. First one, what is the first component? Strategy. Right? We have 6 strategies. And then second one, the researchers interference. Second part discuss. Third one, study setting. Third one discuss. Now we are going to discuss the fourth one. What is it? Research, not analysis. We discuss the research. Before moving to the analysis, we discuss the research choice. But research choice. Again, research choice also directly deal with the approach and the philosophy. We have the 3 choices, but those are mono method, mixed method, and the other one multi method. Right? Mono method, mixed method, and the multi method. Mono method, there are 3. So 3 in the sense, before moving to that selection of mono, mixed, or the other one multi method, you should have the idea regarding what type of research that I'm going to conduct. Is it a quantitative one or else is it a qualitative one? Right? What do you mean by the quantitative research? Quantitative, we are dealing with the numbers and we have thorough analysis in the quantitative research study. Right? If it is a qualitative study, what do you mean by the qualitative study? We are dealing with the, or else we are analyzing the individuals' values, belief, and etc. And normally we are not coming with the numbers in the qualitative research, right? Qualitative versus quantitative. First, you need to identify what type of research that I am going to conduct. Is it a quantitative? Is it a qualitative? Am I going to collect the data numbers or am I going to analyze the perception of the individual? Right? This may be different based on your objectives. Right? Some of researchers, so they are combining these quantitative plus qualitative. How you can identify whether I'm going to do a quantitative or qualitative research? It should link with your research objectives. Right? For example, if you are going to identify the challenges. For example, again, what are the challenges for the cyber? Or else, what are the factors for the why the organizations are following the forensic accounting practices? Right? So the question type is it started with the why. Right? WH format why. If it is why, so can we reflect or else can we find the answers through the numbers for the question why? No. It's most probably come up with the reasons. Right? If it is a why, you are giving the reasons. If I am asking why you are late, can you justify it with the numbers? No, you can't. But you can give the reasons. Right? What are the challenges? Again, can we quantify the numbers? No. You can come up with the reasons. Okay? Likewise, you have some research objectives. Some are started with the why, some are started with the one. But some of the researchers, so they started with the how. If it is how, you have the chance to answer through the reasons plus the numbers also. Right? If it is, yes, what? Yes, likewise. So therefore, first you need to identify what sort of research questions am I having for my research. If there are why and likewise, you have to answer with the reasons. If it is so, how you can analyze the reason through the quantitative or qualitative way, through the qualitative way. Right? If it is how you can analyze it, you have the chance to analyze with the numbers. If it is a question started with how, you have the chance to provide the answers or else to solve that question through providing the numbers. If it is so, it is identified under the quantitative research method. Right? Again, another example, full example. Right now we come to the research terms. Research is regarding the ERP system, right? ERP system and the financial performance. Okay, you write it down. Research choice. Research choice. Write down the research topic. Research topic. Yeah, implementation of ERP system. Implementation of ERP system. Implementation of ERP system. On organizational performance. Organizational performance. On organizational performance. With special reference to the SMEs in Sri Lanka. Colon with special reference to the colon with special reference to the SMEs in Sri Lanka. With special reference to the SMEs in Sri Lanka. The first question, research question. Research question. First question, why? Why SMEs implement ERP systems? Why SMEs implement ERP systems? Second question, what are the barriers? What are the barriers? What are the barriers for implementing ERP systems? What are the barriers for implementing ERP systems in SME? Third question. Third question. How implemented ERP systems impact to organizational performance in SME. to organizational performance of special needs. Of special needs. Yeah. Okay. You highlighted the words. First one, why? The second question is what? Third question, for how? If we are answering for the first question, the question why, can we come up with the numbers? No. Therefore, you have to identify through the belief, attitudes, and etc. perception. Second one, can we identify the what? Up to some extent, it is quantitative plus qualitative. We can rationalize with the numbers, right? But here we are identifying the barriers, right? If we come up with the barriers, can we identify the barriers through the numbers? No, we can't. So therefore, again, you have to analyze the perception and belief, right? Last one, how? How in the sense, you can rationalize it with the numbers, right? Numbers. So therefore, if you are answering for the first question, you have to use which method? Quantitative or qualitative method? Qualitative research method, right? Qualitative research method. So therefore, write it down in front of the first question, qualitative method. Qualitative method, right? Second question, again, if it's a quantitative or qualitative? Qualitative, right? Because barriers, we are asking the barriers. You have to ask it from the managers or else the accountant of the test center. What are the barriers? Tell me the barriers, right? But for the last question, it is numbers. That means it is a quantitative research approach, quantitative research type, quantitative research type. See here, we have three objectives. We have taken two research types, quantitative plus qualitative. If it is so, we are calling it as a which method? Yes, mono, multi, or other one, what is it? Mix. What it is? Mix method, right? If you are selecting both quantitative plus qualitative research type, answer for your research question, it is called as the mixed method. You mix quantitative plus qualitative, right? You are answering for your research question by implementing quantitative plus qualitative research method. We are calling it as a mixed method. But some of the researchers, this is a little bit broader category. For the PhDs, for the masters, we are taking this mixed method, quantitative plus qualitative method. But for the undergraduate level, we are preparing the questions, we are developing the question for just quantitative way, right? Normally, you can start with the how or else what can be reflected by the quantitative way also. So therefore, if we are selecting only one method, what it calls? Or else if we are selecting only the quantitative research type to provide the answers for our research question, what it calls mono method, right? Mono method. If you are selecting one research type to answer for your research questions, we call it as a mono method, right? මේ දෙකෙන් දෙකම තෝරගන්න ඕන මොකද්ද? දෙකම එකට තෝරගන්න මොකද්ද? Mix method. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ දෙන්නගේ එකෙන් select කරගන්න ඕන මොකද්ද? My method. Mono method. Right. Here, last one. Mix method. Right? Mix method. What do you mean by the mix method? If you are selecting more than one or two or else more than two methods, two research times, we call it as a multi-method. So there are some other research design also apply the experiment, not apply basic and then descriptive correlational likewise. No, if you are selecting lot of research designs for to answer for your research questions, we call it as a multi-method, right? If you are selecting one method to answer for your research question, it is mono. If you are selecting both quantitative plus quantitative research design to answer for your research question, it is mixed method. If you are selecting if you are selecting quantitative, qualitative plus other research design to answer for your research question, it is called as the mixed method, multi-method. But I am recommending you, please prepare the research question started with how and what. Right? Don't prepare the questions with the word what. Because why? If you are taking the why, if it is the qualitative, then you are going to mix quantitative plus qualitative. It's a huge research. So therefore, prepare the questions with the how and what, or sometimes you can start with the does, do and likewise, is and are likewise. Don't prepare the question that reflect qualitative right type research question. Right? Qualitative type research question, that means normally started with the WH format. Why? I hope you are doing yours. You have already started the research proposal, right? I hope you are doing something. If you are not, you start. I am taking the presentation after the next week. Right? I'm taking just a presentation, what you are going to do. I will upload the presentation format to the LMS. You just showing me what you are going to do. Right? So therefore, once you need to confirm the topic by doing the presentations. Once I confirm that one, you can submit the proposal. I'm not going to entirely change the research topic. What you can do is I will make some comments. So therefore, you have to present it first. Okay. Plus, this week, I'm giving the portfolio activity number 4 and 5 also. You start doing it and complete. Right? Okay, I will complete this lesson and tell you what we are going to do. Time horizon. Time horizon, what do you mean by the time horizon? The time period for your research. The time period for your research. Basically, we can identify two set of time periods, what we are called the longitudinal as well as the, what is the other one? Cross-sectional studies, right? First one, cross-sectional studies, the other one, longitudinal studies, right? Tell me how many data types that you have studied in the statistics subject? How many data types that you have studied? Just recall your memory. We identify inferential statistics and the descriptive statistics. Okay. Descriptive statistics, mean, median, mode, likewise, those are descriptive statistics. Inferential statistics, we identify the relationship and we analyze the data set and come up with the conclusion. Right? When we are analyzing those descriptive as well as inferential statistics, we identify we have 4 types of data. What those are? Cross-sectional data, and the other one, pool data, panel data, and the last one, time series data. Did you remember? Cross-sectional data, pool data, panel data, and the time series data. Right? Okay. When we are identifying our time horizon for our research, some of the researchers, they collect the data for a small period, right? For a short time period. Whereas some of the researchers, they analyzed the research data for a 10 years period, 20 years period, 5 years period, right? Okay. If we are, in what kind of scenarios we are going to collect the data for us within the small period? Within a small period, within 2 months, within 1 month, within 1 week, we can collect the data for what kind of research? Within 1 week, within 1 month, or 2 months, you have the chance to collect the data. Or else you are collecting the data for a specific point of at the time. Example, our typical example, marketing strategies and the customer satisfaction. Right? If we are going to collect the marketing strategies and the customer satisfaction data, you have to collect the data, which kind of a data, primary or secondary data. Obviously, you have to collect the primary data. Right? We have to collect the data from the customers initially. Otherwise, can we take the central bank report to analyze the customer satisfaction? No, we can't. So therefore, if we are going with the marketing strategies and the customer satisfaction data, first task is you are going to collect the primary data. Okay. If we are going to collect the primary data, normally we have to apply with the survey research approach. So we have to conduct a survey. Is it an interview? No, it may be definitely the sharing questionnaire. Sharing the questionnaire. If we are sharing the questionnaire, can we share the questionnaire from the within the 1 year period? Can we? We collect the data for our marketing strategies and the customer satisfaction from 1st of April 2024 to 31st March 2025. That means 1 year's period. Can we collect the data like that? Can we? No, we can't. Why? Definitely, the 1st of April 2024 data will be different when it's come to the 31st March 2024 from the same person. So therefore, we are collecting the data at a specific point, right? For a 1 month period, for 2 month period, for a 1 week period, 4 weeks period. So therefore, we are calling that kind of a studies as a cross-sectional studies. Okay, read the cross-sectional study definition here. What it called? The study can be taken in the which days are gathered just one, perhaps over a period of days, week or month, in order to answer the research question. Or it's one shot of cross-sectional studies. Are we not going to share the same questionnaire again and again? Within the 2 week period, within a 1 month, within days, we are going to collect the data and finalize our data collection procedure. Clear? Right. The other way around, longitudinal studies. Those who are dealing with the primary data, right? Definitely they are going to have the time period as the cross-sectional study. Again, keep that. If you are answering your question through the collection of primary data, your time horizon definitely become a cross-sectional study for this cross-sectional time period. Another one, longitudinal studies. Some of the researchers, so they are not going to deal with the primary data, so they are collecting the secondary data. Right? If it is second data, from where you can extract the second data, annual report, central bank report, and likewise, that means published data we are going to collect. If we are going to collect the second data, can we collect the data for a one specific period and have the idea? Again, same example, we are going to collect the data for the organizational for working capital management strategies and the firm financial performance. Right? Working capital management and the firm financial performance. We collect the data from the 1st of March, 1st of April 2024 to 31st March 2025. Right? That means 1 year period. We are going to collect the numbers within this 1 year period. Normally the companies are publishing annual report once a year. Therefore, we collected the 1 year data. Is that enough? Is that enough? No. Can we come up with the final conclusion with the 1 year's data? No, we can't. So therefore, you have to collect the data at least from or else the 5 years back. Or else within 10 years period, you have to collect the data. So therefore, we are collecting that data during a specific period, more than 1 year. Therefore, we are calling it that kind of a studies as a longitudinal data collection period. Or else longitudinal studies. Like it is again, the researcher might want to identify the people or phenomena at more than a point in the time in order to answer the question. Right? When we are answering the question, we collect the secondary data. If we are collecting the secondary data, you have to collect the second data, not only the specific period, specific time or specific point, you have to collect the data for more than one specific time during the 5 years back and likewise. Right? We'll discuss this one later on once we are doing the analysis. Right? That is why I asked, based on the type of data, your time period will be differentiated, whether it is cross-sectional or the longitudinal studies. Last one, unit of analysis. So this is really important when we are going to, for the next sessions, sampling to identify the sample, to identify the population. Unit of analysis is really important, right? Unit of analysis reflected from whom the respective researcher is going to collect the data. From whom we are going to collect the data. That is reflected by the unit of analysis. From whom, right? Who is the responsible party? Who is providing the responses for this research? Right? For example, again, customer satisfaction. If I want to identify the customer satisfaction, who will provide the answers for me? Who will provide the responses to me? Customers, right? Customers. If I want to collect the data regarding student performance, who will be provided the answer? Students, right? Students. If I want to collect the regarding the accountants, the effectiveness of accountants, who will provide the answers? The accountant. If I want to analyze the forensic accounting cases, who will be provided the answers? Forensic accountants. If I want to answer for the if my research is regarding the internal controls, right? From whom I need to collect the data? Auditors, right? Internal auditors. If I want to identify the external auditors' opinion and other things, I have to deal with the external auditors. So that means those are the parties who provided the answers to our research, who provided the responses to our research. We are calling them as a unit of analysis. It's very clear. If it is a primary data, you have to identify the unit of analysis is whatever the individual, right? If you are collecting the primary data, definitely your unit of analysis may be individual. Why? You are collecting the initial data. Initial data definitely will be collected or else will be provided by the individuals. ඉස්සෙල්ලාම data collect කරනවා කියලා කියනකොට final data. Final data ගන්න පුළුවන් කාගෙන්ද? අනිවාර්යෙන්ම individual කෙනෙක්ගේ. The other one. Not only the primary data, some of the researchers, so they are collecting the secondary data to answer their questions, right? So therefore, secondary data. Secondary data, if it is a secondary data, from where you can collect the data, from whom you can collect the data. Is it an individual? No, it's a definitely organization, right? if I want to identify the working capital management and the firm financial performance, if I want to collect the data regarding working capital and the firm financial performance, I need to collect the data regarding firm financial performance and working capital. From where I can collect this type of a data? ROA, ROE, current ratio, quick ratio. From where I can collect the data? Individuals? Can I ask that question from the accountant? No, definitely I can, without having that, without interacting the individuals, I can refer the annual report and collect that data. Right? So therefore, if it is so, from whom I'm going to collect the data? From the respective organization. So therefore, if it is the second data, our unit of analysis may be the organization. It may be SMEs, it may be the bank, it may be commercial bank, it may be universities, it may be the non-state universities, it may be the SMEs, it may be the retail shops and likewise. So therefore, keep that. If you are going to deal with the second data, your unit of analysis may be the organization. And if it is the primary data, your unit of analysis may be the individuals, but you should have the ability to name that individual. I'm going to collect the data from the external auditors. Am I going to collect the data from the organization if it is so banks and likewise? Based on your unit of analysis, the next lesson is regarding the sampling, right? Based on your unit of analysis, your sample may be determined. Population, what do you mean by the population? Have you heard the population, the word population? Population? No, no idea. How much is your class population? 80. Right? But here, this is a sample. How much is it? Approximately 40. Your sample is 80. But your population is 80, sample is 40. If I am going to collect the data regarding the student performance, right? I target your batch, right? Unit of analysis, I want to collect the data regarding yes, I'm going to conduct the research regarding the student performance, measuring the student performance, right? What may be my unit of analysis? I'm targeting your batch. What may be my unit of analysis? I want to collect the data regarding students' performance. Right? What may be my unit of analysis? Individuals. Definitely individuals. Who they are? Students. Right? Students are the unit of analysis. I want to measure the student performance. Therefore, I'm going to collect the data from the students. So, therefore, you are the unit of analysis. Population, if I'm going to collect the data from all the 16D students. What may be my population? 80 students. But here, unfortunately, I don't have the 80 students. Here I have the 40 students. I collect the data from you 40. Therefore, you may be my sample. Therefore, unit of analysis definitely provide the direction for the future lesson. So, therefore, identify your unit of analysis. Right? You determine what is your unit of analysis for my dissertation, what may be the time horizon, what may be the study setting, what may be the research choice, what are the questions, what are the objectives, what is the approach, what are the philosophies and etc. You now identify, right? Identify those things and do the portfolio activity number 4. That is regarding the methodology. Right? That is regarding the methodology. So therefore, complete the research portfolio activity number 4. Meanwhile, you do the activity number 5 also. Activity number 5, it identify the similar paper for your study. Right? Now, you have identified your research objectives and questions. You develop the topic, you develop the LR also. Now, identify a similar paper for your study. We call it as a base paper. And it should be similar for your study. So therefore, first you identify. So this is the task. First you identify or else find a base paper to your study, right? Which is a similar study for your research. And then read it and then do the portfolio active number 4, identify the methodological part and upload it to the LMS for the next week, right? It's very easy. Identify the base paper and fill the portfolio number 4. Any question? Before Saturday, yeah? Before Saturday 8 a.m., you do the portfolio act number 4 and 5. It's easy. 5 is sense nothing to do. You have to find the base paper. And 4 in the sense, by reading the base paper, you have to fill the deciding part. Or else you have to determine your method. How you are going to collect the data from unit of and analyze first. This is your research. You identify what I am going to do as my methodology. Those things needed to be included in your sample proposal. Here, I wanted my samples still in a proposal. Did you go through that one? No. I hope I have already uploaded to the LMS the research proposal samples. So those are samples. So you can refer those. Right? You can refer, the format can be referred, and likewise length of the problems and questions. You can identify those things and you started your research proposal. Writing your research proposal. In the research proposal, you have to identify the methods, right? Which is definitely similar to the portfolio active number 4. You do the portfolio active number 4 to identify research topic, and that is your proposal thing. So that is why always I'm asking, inline the portfolio activities with your proposals. If you are doing the portfolio activities properly, definitely you are not in trouble when you are preparing the proposal. Right? Inline those things and start your proposals. You have to submit the proposal at the 15th week. Right? Before the 15th week, you have to therefore you do the portfolio active number 5 and then do the portfolio active number 4. Right? Remaining thing we will discuss after the next week. තේරුණානේ the portfolio active number 5 කරන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ base paper එකක් හොයාගන්න ඔයාගේ study එකට සමාන. ඒක හොයාගෙන ඒක කියවලා ඒක identify වෙලා තියෙන methods ටිකෙන් ඔයාලට ගැලපෙනවද කියලා බලලා portfolio active number 4 කරන්න. ඒකේ තියෙන methods තමයි. මේ අද කරපු lesson එකයි last week කරපු lesson එකයි තියෙන්නේ. Right? You have to do it. If you have any changes to your research topic, you do it and amend it and continue the portfolio at number 4. ඔයාලා මොනවාරි changes තියෙනවා නම් ඔයාලා topic එකේ ඒ topic එක වෙනස් කරලා portfolio at number 4 කරන්න හැබැයි උඩ තුනක් complete කරගෙන එන්න. Okay. Any questions? No? All our questions, no? Any questions? No? Right. Okay. Thank you very much for your participation. Have a great day. We'll go to the